Alright, now I can get back to talking about this movie. Young Guns. Alright, so last time I was talking about Charlie Bowdry and his pugilism. Okay. So, back to what happens in the movie. So now we're going back to Spoiler Town. At midnight, the town folk shoot their guns in the air. And then they sing Auld Lang Syne. Auld Lang Syne. It's a very pretty song. Very old and very pretty song. So, I have a little bit about that song. Okay, so Auld Lang Syne. Auld. It's spelled AULDLANGSYNE. Auld Lang Syne. Okay. Okay, so it means times long past. The phrase for Auld Lang Syne means for old times' sake. It's Scottish. The phrase was popularized as the title and refrain of a song by Robert Burns from 1788. So it's a very, very pretty song. Typically sung around New Year's time. Okay, so after all that, after the New Year's celebration, the Regulators, they're going home. So on their way home, here's definitely a spoiler, Tunstall gets shot, and he gets shot dead. He gets killed by Murphy's men. And then McSween convinces the justice of the peace to deputize the Regulators to serve warrants against the Murphy men. It took some convincing, but because he didn't want to do it at first, but he was convinced. So they were deputized. So then Billy was sent after one of them. He shoots him dead in an outhouse and puts the warrant in his mouth, saying, "By the way, you're under arrest." And then Billy laughs. He laughs a lot in this movie. So Billy thought that was funny. Alright. And then later, Doc reads in the newspaper about what happened. So there's a few times in the movie where you hear Kiefer Sutherland reading from the newspaper about the events that take place, referring to Billy the Kid and the gang. Okay, and then Chavez says, "El Chivato, Billy the Kid, huh?" And then I think he spins his knife. Chavez was really good with the knife. Okay, and then Billy asks Dick Brewer, "Who's next?" And then Dick Brewer says, "You." Okay, and then there's a shocking scene where Billy suspects McCloskey as being a traitor because he used to be one of the Murphy men. And so he shoots him, but right before he shoots him, Billy says he's sorry, and he shakes his hand. And he says, "I'm sorry I didn't sniff you out sooner, you traitor." So then Billy shoots McCloskey in the head. Doc gets blood all over his face because he was standing right behind McCloskey. So Doc's got blood all over his face. Pretty shocking. If you were that person standing behind McCloskey, that would be a very upsetting experience, I assume. So then Dick Brewer says, "Everybody close their fargan lips for a second and let me think." So he uses that fargan word again. Fargan. It's kind of funny. He says, "Let's skin up the river," which is a funny expression. Skin up the river. So then he's angry at Billy for shooting McCloskey because they're supposed to be serving warrants, not executing people. So then Dick Brewer says something to. I thought he was referring to Chavez. I thought Dick Brewer was saying, "Get that engine on a horse." But I didn't realize until many years later, because I'd been watching this on VHS, so I didn't realize it until I got the Blu-ray, so I could put up the subtitles, because I like watching I like watching movies with subtitles, because sometimes it's hard to hear what people say in movies, and it's nice to have the words on the bottom, and also it's difficult to hear what the dialogue in the movie when I'm eating, because I'm chewing and it's noisy. So that's another reason why it's good to use subtitles. So I didn't when I watched it on Blu-ray, I saw what Dick Brewer was saying. He wasn't saying engine. He was talking about Billy. So the subtitle for that moment in the movie, it said, from Dick Brewer, it said, "Get that idiot on a horse." Not a very nice word. Engine is kind of offensive too, isn't it? Idiot is not a very nice word. So it said idiot, but Dick Brewer was pronouncing it as idjit. So I guess that's how they pronounce that word back in Old West times. So I thought that was interesting. So he was calling Billy an idiot. Okay, so then Doc reads from the newspaper about what happened. There's a picture that says it's Billy, the kid, but it looks more like Dick Brewer. Chavez prepares some peyote. That's a hallucinogenic drug. He paints a skull on his face. I saw in an interview with Lou Diamond Phillips, who's Chavez, he says that uh, I think he said either the writer or director gave him a book. Um, I think it was like tribal history book. Um, so that probably had some stuff about peyote in it. But I think Lou Diamond Phillips said it was his idea to paint the skull on his face during that scene in the movie. He said it looked really good on camera. It was very effective. So Chavez had a skull on his face. All right, so this is everybody had some peyote in the scene in the movie except Dick Brewer. So this is kind of a funny scene with the Regulators because their voices they sounded weird and deep, so they altered the audio in the movie. Doc, who is a poet, during this scene he talks about the Chinese girl being his flower, and he's her butterfly. And Dirty Steve is acting all crazy, paranoid, and he shoots his rifle. Billy throws his gun in the air, but it doesn't come back down. So that's kind of funny. And then Billy falls down backwards. Charlie stretches, and then he vomits. So that's gross. And then he says, "This is great." And he moves his arms out in front of him as if he's touching something that's not really there. So there's the hallucinogenic part of that, of the peyote. Chavez gets on his horse, and he gives out a battle cry. He roars. Billy gets on his horse backwards. Charlie gets on his horse with this silly look on his face, and his hair is sticking up wildly. Dirty Steve this part is not very nice. Dirty Steve talks to his horse, and then he shoots his rifle off near the horse's ears. So that wasn't very nice. They could have added like a sound effect to the movie at that point, so I don't know if they did or not, but if they didn't, that wasn't very nice to the horses, was it? Loud sound right next to the horse's ear, because the horse was upset after that, understandably so. Okay, and then there's a funny dinner scene where Dick Brewer is saying grace. Billy thinks he's done saying grace, and he goes for the food, but then Dick Brewer continues saying grace. So you can see during the scene that Billy's getting annoyed because he just wants to eat. And then he says, "Please, Dick, it's getting cold." And then they both draw their guns at each other, Dick Brewer and Billy the Kid. Billy says, "I could have killed you, Dick. I could have killed you. But I don't want to kill you. I want to eat." And then Dick Brewer says, "When we've finished this meal, you little rodent, we're going to go out in the yard and see who has the right to run this group of regulators."